In this video, we're going to test the new Omnicolor LED technology found in Amaran's new Ray series of lights. Yeah, there are 4 of them, and they're pretty awesome. But do they really look any different? Well, we're going to find out. We're going to test the specs, we're going to do side-by-side comparisons, and we're going to answer the question, is Omnicolor really something that we need, or is it just marketing hype? Oh, and of course, after we test the color, I'll look at each one of these lights and I'll tell you what I like and don't like about them. And at the end, I'll tell you which 2 lights that I would buy over the other 2. Now, this new Ray series comes in 4 models: the 60, the 120, the 360, and the 660. Yeah, that's the brightest light I've ever owned. Oh, and there's also some specific modifiers that we can talk about, some that come in the kit and some that you can buy separately. Now, Amaran put the same new Omnicolor technology in all of these lights. So let's just get right to it. Let's find out, is this really look any better in the skin tones? Because Amaran says that it will. Yeah, I'm going to use the 360 to start. Now, normally I'd have a little rim light here and I have something in the background, but for now, we're just going to go with the light in a softbox. And here's the light from the 300C. Can you see a difference? When I first ran these tests, I couldn't see much of a difference at all. But when I looked at it a little bit closer, I kind of started to see, yeah, I can see what they're saying about the 360. The skin tones do look just a little bit better. And this looks a little bit more washed out and maybe pasty. And while these lights look pretty close, well, the distribution of the colors across the spectrum are quite different. You can see a large bump here and here, and then there's this one right here, which is the indigo color. Now, that indigo light is supposed to account for some of that skin tone difference, but it's also supposed to allow whites to really pop out. So, I'm going to change my clothes and let's run the test again. All right, now we're back to the new 360. Without a rim light, you really can't even see my jacket. So let's just take that off. Yeah, do the lights look different here on the Amaran? Yeah, I can tell a difference just by looking at the monitor. This new Omnicolor engine, well, it does make the whites pop more. Now, Aputure's BLAIR-CG engine that I have in my Aputure Storm 80C also has that indigo light in it that makes whites pop. So now let's compare Omnicolor with the BLAIR-CG engine using a white light at 5600 degrees Kelvin. All right, so this is the BLAIR-CG engine, and you can compare that to the other 2 lights. All right, well, looking at the images over and over again tends to confuse me more than give me clarity. Yeah, I understand that the whites pop more. That I can see very clear. But as far as the skin tones, well, I think the problem is that everything I've ever shot, I've always wanted to adjust everything after I shoot it. And it's no different here. In every single shot with the old Amaran or the new one or the Storm 80C, I still want to make those adjustments, and I still would. So it's not a magic bullet. I'm not really sure what's going on here with this Omnicolor engine. It seems more like magic to me than actual science. Here's the slide that Amaran sent me, comparing the RGBWW to the Omnicolor. And at first glance, well, they look pretty similar, except you can see, okay, they're using 2 different shades of red and multiple shades of blue. And if that wasn't confusing enough for you, well, here's the Omnicolor compared to the BLAIR and the BLAIR-CG engine. So after looking at this chart over and over again until my head started spinning, I decided to just look at the colors themselves. All right, let's do a color comparison between the 360 and the 300C. Now, the colors on these aren't identical. I got them balanced the best I could. This is at a hue of 245 at 100% saturation. But over on the 360 here, I'm only at 11.8%, whereas on the Amaran 600C, I'm at 22%. Oh, and keep in mind that I am getting a little bit of a light leak from one light to the other. Here, let's turn on the 360C. Now here's the green, both set at 115 on the hue circle, and yeah, this matches up pretty well as well. But when we get to yellow, we do see a significant difference between the Omnicolor and the traditional RGBWW. And well, if I use my phone here, I can get a little bit more red into that yellow to match. Here, I'll do that now. Something like that. I can't do the opposite. I can't get the Amaran to be this color of yellow. Here, let me show you. Yeah, if I pull towards the green, well, it gets a little too green. If I pull towards the red, well, it gets into the red real easily. So, yeah, where it's supposed to be yellow right there, it's not quite yellow. Yellow is a difficult color for LEDs. I don't know why. All right, so after testing these lights for a few days, I'm convinced that Omnicolor is a real step forward in LED technology, and it's not just marketing hype. Yeah, the whites are better, The yellows are clearly better, and I think the skin tones are better as well. Oh, and before I give you my recommendations about which lights I would buy, if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button. Yeah, it's the easiest way that I can get this video out to as many more people like yourself. So which of these Omnicolor lights would I recommend as a first purchase? Well, it would have to be the 360C. Yeah, this thing's incredible. It's a real step up from the Amaran 300C that has been tried, true, tested, and has been very, very popular. Yeah, the 360 is a better light than the 300C in so many ways. And get this, it's actually $26 cheaper. Yeah, Amaran has really come in with a great price for this light. Now, the obvious advantage of this light is that this has 60 more watts of power. But you know what? It also doesn't use a giant brick like this, like the 300 did, to get that power. Yeah, it uses a single cable, and one that is actually locking. And it twists and locks in place. Yeah, this is awesome. And I'm not going to miss this big, huge brick hanging off the 300C. Oh, and here's another advantage that I wasn't expecting at all. Yeah, weather resistance. This has an IP rating of 54. This has an IP rating of nothing. This means it's not only dust resistant, but you can actually take it out in a light rain. This, yeah, don't get any water next to this. Oh, and there's some other small little upgrades, like this has an NFC connection, so it makes it a lot easier to hook up to your phone. Yeah, I've never really had a problem with Bluetooth, so that's not the biggest deal to me in the world, but it's nice to see that they're keeping up with the latest trends. Oh, and if you're a DMX user, well, you're out of luck here, but there is an optional accessory here by a USB-C port that you can put in to get DMX for this light, both wired and unwired. I don't know much about that because I'm not a DMX user and they didn't send me one to test, but it is nice to know that you have this option right under this little gasket if you need it. Oh, and if you're wondering, you can't use that USB-C port to power the light. Yeah, in fact, I don't know of a battery solution for this light, or for this light for that matter. Oh, come to think about it, I think there is a way to get battery to this, and you know what? They're probably working on a way to get battery to this as well. But for now, if you need battery power, well, this isn't your light. We'll get to the light that is in just a bit. But I do want to mention one more feature of the 360 before we move on, and that's fan noise. All right, I'll turn this up to 100%, and let's see if we can hear the fan. Now, I've never had any complaints about the fan in the 300C, but you know what? This is actually much quieter. I can barely hear it. It's right up to my ear. Yeah, I can hear it a little bit, but you know, even over here, yeah, now I can't hear it at all. And now let's take a look at the 660C. It's pretty much the identical light, except, well, the handle's on the top here, where it's on the bottom here. This is a little smaller. This is a little heavier. This has an all-metal yoke, which is great. This yoke down here is all metal, but it's a smaller yoke. This has all the benefits of this light, including the single cable, the weather resistance, the great Omnicolor. It just has a lot more power and a metal yoke. Oh, but there is a downside to having a lot more power, and that's the fan noise is a lot more when you turn this up to 100%. Now, you can set it to a silent mode, but that gets you down to 8%. And if you're at about 50% on this, well, the fan noise seems to be pretty comparable to what I'm hearing over here, which is not really loud at all. So while it's great to have all that extra power, it does come at a fan noise cost. Just keep that in mind. Oh, but before we move on to these smaller lights, I do need to tell you about a few cons that these lights have. I have two complaints. First, they're both made of plastic. Nice plastic, but yeah, they're still plastic. They're not all metal, although they're metal where it counts. The second con would be the cases that these come in. Oh, and the case for the 660, well, it's gigantic. Yeah, they both come in these crappy cases that Amaran seems to like. You know what? I am kind of warming up to these cases because they've held up a lot better than I thought that they would. They're form-fitted, so the nice metal reflector, well, it goes right in here quite easily. Oh, and they've left ample room for the cord to go back in. But that's pretty much what you get. The light, the reflector, and the cord. You don't get any other accessories. And I say that because in the other lights, well, you do get a few. But probably the biggest reason that I recommend the 360 over the 660 is that it costs $270 more. And for the price difference, you can get one of these and still have a little money left over. Now, these small little ray lights, the 60C and the 120C, well, they share a lot in common with the bigger brothers, the 360 and the 660. First, they're both weatherproofed, yeah, and they have an IP rating of 54, just like the 660 and the 360. Now, just looking at these lights, they're practically identical. In fact, I can't tell which is the 60 and the 120 without looking on the back. And because these are charcoal, yeah, they're actually really hard to read. But, if I get it in the right light, I can figure out which one is which. Oh, and get this, they both have a full-size Bowens mount. Yeah, not just a little mini one. This is great. Now, it doesn't come with this reflector, but you get the idea. Instead of getting a reflector with this kit, Amaran has chosen to give you a small little light dome. Yeah, this is the Octodome 30, which is 30 centimeters, which is not really big, but it's kind of cool. Now, there's not a built-in battery here, but this is compatible with the new Peak battery from Amaran. And what's great is that this powers through the Ace lock. So just click it on like that. Yeah. This is awesome. Oh, and this Peak battery will give you more than enough power to run the 120C at full power. And of course, it would run the 60C as well. But you know what? Amaran tells me that they're coming out with another Peak battery that's going to be about half the wattage that will power that 60C. So yeah, you can probably save a little money with that. I don't have that. I haven't seen it. I don't know what the price is, but it's nice to know that they're looking out for the little guy who wants to get the 60C. Oh, and if you're not going to use the Peak battery, well, under this gasket here, you've got two other power options. One is USB-C, and the other is for the power adapter that comes in the kit. So it just locks in like that and screws in very, very tight. It's great that Amaran made this a locking cord. Oh, but instead of just hanging this down from your light, Amaran is also give you one of these in every kit. It's a combination, little Ace lock, stand, and handheld grip, as well as AC adapter holder. It has this little rubber strap that just goes around just like that. And the light, of course, snaps on with the Ace mount. And there's a little stand here at the bottom for you to put the whole thing on your C-stand. Oh, and another thing I really love about these small lights is it comes in a really nice little bag. Yeah, I like this thing. And it fits a lot of things inside. Yeah, you get the little Octodome, you've got the stand, you've also got the very, very nice long power cable, as well as some diffusion and the grid for the softbox. And it all goes in here and zips up quite nicely. You get the same bag with all the same accessories with both the 60 and the 120. But Amaran has also designed some accessories exclusively for this light, like this little Amaran Fresnel Mini. Yeah, I love this thing. Now, while this is a full-size Bowens mount, you're not going to want to put this on anything brighter than 120 watts because it will probably melt the Fresnel. Yeah, this is a plastic Fresnel. Oh, and the Fresnel, it comes with these great metal barn doors as well. Yeah, I really love the Fresnel, the barn doors, the Peak battery. Yeah, these optional accessories really are fantastic. So as promised, the light that I'm most excited about is the 360C, and I would probably go with the 120C here as well. The 120C is $70 more. It doesn't come with much more than just more power, but I think sometimes I'm going to want that power. Because see, I can see myself using the 360C as a main key light, and I can see one of these lights being a background light, and I probably want all the power I could get out of a background light. And of course, if I needed more power, I could use my 360C for the background, and this would actually work well for a key light as well in a pinch. Yeah, if I needed to use that, well, I'd rather have the 120 than the 60. So that would make an awesome kit, the 360, the 120, and then I would add one more light to that, and that would probably be a hair or a rim light. In that case, I'd probably go with the Ace 25C. Yeah, I love this little light. Now, it doesn't have that Omnicolor engine in it, but you're not going to need that for a hair or a rim light. In fact, if you want to see a video about why I think this is one of the greatest lights of all times, well, you can just watch that little video right over there. Hey, thanks for stopping by.